Oh dear, right, okay, here we are. I've finally got everything apart on the rear brake master cylinder. It's been a right job. I haven't been able to get the to get this rod out, but you don't need to take it out. There's nothing really in there, just needs cleaning up in there. So that's been left. But this is the actual master cylinder, and these are all the seals in it. Okay, the spring, and this is the main piston, and that's the main seal. And then we've got like secondary seals as well to stop it leaking. But that's the main seal. So down the bottom here we've got all the old seals. Okay, and at the top there's all the new seals that came in the seal kit. So you've got like the rubber boot that goes on the end, then you've got the boot that goes on the end of the cylinder there, the main seal, a new little sort of diaphragm spring, and this end cap that goes on the end of the spring, this end cap that goes on the other end of the spring, and then seals for the nut on the top and the inlet to the plastic housing. These are the old ones. Okay, so what we're going to do is we'll start putting them together in a minute. But the best thing to do is, yeah, it's a bit cooler now. Obviously, I've got to clean everything out first, make sure it's all clean. Crikey, this didn't want to come apart. Well, none of it did. Right, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to soak these seals, particularly this main seal, in brake fluid to soften them up a bit. Probably this seal, and that one's probably okay, but this one is a bit awkward because it does go like oval when you put it in. It fits in that oval shape there. So you want it nice and pliant, and you want that nice and pliant because we've got to try and get it onto the piston there, and I can assure you that's not easy because you've got a hole that size, small, wants to go over that piston big. You know, that the size of that is actually about the same size as the outside of that seal. And we've got to persuade it to go on there, which is never easy without damaging it. So I will soak them, and to be honest, I'm going to have a break now because, you know, it's been a long, hard road just getting the damn thing apart. And so I'm going to soak these seals, go away for a bit, and then come back and put it all together later on. Okay, I've now been soaking the seals in brake fluid, and so the first job is the hardest job, and that is to put the new main seal on the piston. And so it's just actually getting the damn thing on over, you know, you've got to open it sufficiently to get it over that, and it's a nightmare. I'm probably going to cut the old seal off and then somehow try and put the new one on. I know what I'm going to try and do. I'm going to try and carefully put this in the vise. Say carefully, it's obviously to avoid damaging it. And use a couple of screwdrivers, you know, to try and lever the two small screwdrivers to try and lever that small aperture open so it's big enough to go over this rather large piston. The main thing is to make sure it's facing the right way. So like the open end is facing that way. In other words, facing, so it's pushing the fluid out that way. And then when the piston retracts, because of that spring, it squeezes in, and then when you put the brake pedal on, that open lip pushes all the fluid down to the rear brake. Anyway, I'm going to go off camera. I'm going to spend a merry time, I'm sure, trying to put that seal on there, and then the rest is kind of reassembly, but that's the bugger of a job. Okie dokie, so managed to get the new seal on without too much of a hassle, and just managed to lever it on with a screwdriver. I think soaking it in the brake fluid to get it supple before we started made a big difference.